Hey there guys, in today's video I am going to be talking about getting weights on your bird. More specifically, why it is so important, what you should be looking for, as well as some tips and tricks to make it a little bit easier and less stressful. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, make sure to stick around because that's going to be coming up right after this. Hey there guys, this is Jack over at Hi Red Bird, where I am tirelessly working to find new ways to make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about getting weights on your bird, because as far as I'm concerned, getting weights are going to be one of the most important things you can do to provide for the overall wellness and well-being of your bird. Because birds, as prey species, they like to hide every sign or symptom of illness or injury they may have. But as I learn every single time I go to the gym, the scale doesn't lie. The same is going to be true for your birds. The scale is not going to lie. They can hide a lot of other things. They cannot hide their weight. So knowing what your bird's weight is on a regular basis is a great way, a great objective means of assessing their overall wellness. So we got to start with, how much should your bird weigh? And that is a kind of tricky question. There's definitely information available online on how much your bird should weigh, but I'm going to strongly encourage anyone to talk to their veterinarian when they first get their bird to have a discussion of how much that bird should weigh. And the reason for that is there is going to be a range. There are going to be some individuals that are a little bit bigger than average, some that are a little smaller than average. But depending on the setup of your bird, that can have a profound impact on how much that bird weighs. A bird that is inside a cage in a home most of the time, is crawling and walking around, maybe does short flights from pieces of furniture, is not going to have the same muscle tone as a bird that lives in a large outdoor open air aviary, is not going to have the same muscle tone as a bird that lives outside and is flying miles each day to find its food. So having a veterinarian look at your individual bird, maybe talk to you about how that bird is kept, they are going to be in the best position to understand how much your bird should weigh, because it definitely is going to fluctuate depending on your individual bird and your individual circumstances. Now, most avian veterinarians I've spoken to agree that if you see a 10% fluctuation of weight, so either an increase or a decrease of weight, you should probably be looking at seeing a veterinarian because there's probably something going on. So for that reason, I do want to point out first and foremost that for birds, I weigh all my birds in grams. Grams are going to be incredibly useful for figuring out what 10% of that body weight is. Most vet offices are going to want that weight in grams, kilograms if we're getting into the really, really big birds, but that's still going to be barely into kilograms. A gram measurement is going to be great. If you measure your bird in pounds and ounces, and aside from birds, most other animals, if they need to go to see a veterinarian, if they are measured in pounds and ounces, that weight is then transcribed into kilograms and grams because it's easier to figure out medicine doses based on the weight in grams. So getting your bird's weight in grams is what I'm going to recommend. It just makes everything a lot easier for everyone involved. Now, you're going to need a scale to do that, and there's a couple of things you want to pay attention to when it comes to getting your scale. First and foremost, pay attention to the range of your scale. All scales are going to have a set range where they are most accurate, and I'm going to be honest, I have not really seen a scale that I would like to use for everything from budgies, my smallest birds, to a green-winged macaw, which is my largest bird. So instead, I use multiple scales. I will use the appropriate scale for the individual bird, depending on where they should fall in the weight range. You want to pay attention to the accuracy of that scale as well. For my smaller birds, I use a food scale, which is accurate to 1/10 of a gram. So that's a great accuracy. For my bigger birds, I have a produce scale, which is accurate to within about 5 grams. Now, the reason that you want to pay attention to that accuracy, I can weigh one of my big birds on that produce scale, get really close in weight. It may be off by 2 or 3 grams, but for a bird that is several hundred grams, that's not as big a deal. Now, if you were looking at something like a budgie, which is a much smaller bird, if I was off by up to 5 grams getting a weight on that bird, that could potentially be that 10% of body weight that we need to be paying attention to. So check the accuracy of your scale as well. Now, you do want to pay attention to things like how easy it is to use that scale. You want to make sure that your scale is easy to set up. You want to make sure that it's easy to read. If all of these things are easy to use, you're going to be more likely to do it. But if it's a pain in the butt to set up your scale, if it's difficult to read, then you're going to be less likely to do it, and then you're just not going to get the benefits of regularly weighing your bird. You also want to pay attention to the price of your scale, and that's going to be one of the main reasons why I usually just get multiple scales for different bird sizes. If I wanted a scale that would measure all of my birds and measure all of my birds accurately, I could probably find one. I would just be paying for it. And to get that wide range with that accuracy is going to be a fairly expensive scale. So definitely pay attention to all of those different factors when you are picking out a scale for your bird. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can weigh your bird, but they're all going to be pretty straightforward. So you can teach your bird to step directly onto a scale. Now, don't be surprised if this doesn't happen the very first time, since a scale is something new and novel. If you have a bird that is a little more fearful, distrusting, skittish, or just outright doesn't like new things, I know we all have birds like that, it may take a little bit of time, a little bit of desensitization to get them used to stepping onto that scale. A way around that is to utilize a scale platform, because you can start working with the scale platform when you're not weighing your bird. I actually build PVC stands that I will utilize around the house for different birds. They get used to going on those PVC stands. So then when I introduce a scale, it's not that big a deal. You just want to make sure that you're paying attention to how that scale platform lands on the scale. If it hangs over, it's going to throw off the accuracy of your weight. So you want to pay attention to that. You also want to make sure that when you add the scale platform, you then zero out the scale, because otherwise you're going to be adding the weight of that platform to your bird's weight. You may take a look at their vet visit and then wonder how they gained, 130 grams because you put on a scale platform that is adding that weight to your bird. So definitely pay attention to those things. Now, if you don't have a bird that regularly steps up and steps down, if it's a little more fearful of that, and some birds just don't like it, you can always try target training your bird. Using a target, getting your bird to touch their beak to the end of a target stick or a target pole. You can then work them closer to that platform, get them to step up on that platform or directly onto the scale. That can be a great option for birds that don't want to step up. And of course, if none of those things are working for you, one thing I encourage you guys to check out, if you go over to Facebook, there is the Hi Redbird group. You guys can post any unique questions you have over there. I can help you guys work through those, help you answer those. There are other people in that community that can help you out as well. It is a completely free place where you guys can log on and you can ask for help when it comes to taking care of and better providing for your birds. To me, that's really important. I think, if I can do my part to help make the ease of taking care of birds easier, I think we're all going to be better off. So definitely check that out if you don't think any of those techniques are going to apply to you or be beneficial to you. One of the most important things then, after we have this ability to get our weight, is how often we should be getting our weight. And if you guys have a set routine or a set time that you get your weight, go ahead and put it in the comments section down below. That accomplishes a couple of things. One, it lets other bird owners know how often bird owners in general are getting weights on their bird. It's a great piece of information, but also by adding comments to the video, it helps with the YouTube algorithm, which means that if people are looking for things about parrots, they're going to see videos on how to get weights on their birds a lot easier. So you help me out with that as well. But yeah, just let me know how often you are getting weights on your bird. My general rule of thumb, I like to get weights on my birds at least once a week, and depending on the individual bird. If I have a bird that is just recovering from a medical procedure, if I have a bird that is on daily medications, if I have a bird that is older and just a cause for concern, and if you just feel something isn't right, get that weight more often. You can get that weight daily. We've seen that getting a weight does not have to be stressful at all. You can get your bird used to that. I know a lot of people who will use the start of getting their bird onto a platform, getting that platform on the scale. That's the very first step in their daily training routine that they do with their bird. And their bird is excited about it because not only are they getting to interact with their person, they're getting reinforced with all sorts of different things that they enjoy. So getting a weight becomes a fun thing for your bird because they don't understand what the numbers mean. So getting a weight on them doesn't induce the same sense of shame that it does when I step onto the scale. So definitely pay attention to things like that. You also want to pay attention to where you are getting your bird's weight and where it falls in your routine. You should be trying to get your bird's weight at the same time every day for it to be the most useful. That being said, you don't have to get your bird's weight at 7:02 a.m. every day. Instead, pay attention to where you are with your bird. If your bird normally gets a weight before it goes to the bathroom, if you get a weight after it goes to the bathroom, that's going to make a difference. If you normally get your bird's weight before it has breakfast, but then one day you get its weight after breakfast and that bird has a crop full of food, that's going to make a difference. So just pay attention to where your routine falls, what your bird is doing, and you are going to have the most comparable weights that are going to be the most useful in showing you any influence that food, that exercise, that diet, that overall well-being is having on your bird's weight. The good thing is you can then keep track of all of these weights. Just write them down in a notebook. You can store them in your phone. If you want to be really ambitious, you can store them on something like an Excel spreadsheet. The next time you go to your veterinarian, if your bird needs to see the veterinarian, bring those records in. I have not yet met a veterinarian that is not overly excited to see detailed records on things like weight or changes in droppings. Basically any change, any fluctuation in your bird. Pay attention to that. Make note of it. You can bring that to your veterinarian. But weight, like I said, is an objective measurement. So your bird can't hide it. It's not going to be easily influenced. So it's something you can pay attention to. So I certainly hope that this video has been helpful. If you've had questions about getting your bird's weight, how to do it, how often you should be doing it, I do want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I do put out videos every single week covering a variety of different ways to, again, make the keeping of exotic animals and pets more exciting, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys soon. I need to say thank you to my Patreon patrons for helping to make these videos possible. You can find out more by visiting Hi Red Bird on Patreon or clicking the link in the description section down below if you would like more information. Thanks!